Homeowners associations, are you for them or are they more hassle than they're worth? We're going to talk about that next. Hey, what's up everyone? It's Matt Allen here with the Matt Allen Real Estate team. Hope you are having an awesome day today. Today's topic is homeowners association. They started in 1905, if you believe that, and the debate as to whether they're worth it or not has probably continued since that time. Today we're going to talk about the positives, the negatives, what to look for if you're searching for a house in a homeowners association, things to be on the lookout for. So what really is the purpose of a homeowners association, or HOA as I'm going to call it throughout the rest of the video? I've got a good definition here, and we're just going to read it to you. It says the primary purpose of an HOA is to provide a strong community and ensure the members of that community are safe and the community is well taken care of. So with that in mind, let's talk about the benefits. There are a lot of benefits to having a homeowners association, starting with the rules of the neighborhood. They've established rules to make sure that, we always use the example, the neighbor doesn't paint his house bright pink and puts flamingos in his front yard. Common areas are going to be looked after. A neighborhood with an HOA is going to have some additional amenities typically, whether it's on the higher end of a gated community or a security guard to a community pool or maybe just a playground or a park. Probably the biggest benefit though is going to be the fact that HOAs typically maintain value of the houses in the neighborhood. Most houses that are in an HOA typically maintain their value better than those that are not. Whether you're for them or just not a fan, if you're buying a house in Central Florida, the large percentage of homes that are going to be available are going to be in HOA or homeowners association neighborhoods. The negatives, let's talk about it because there's plenty of negatives people will say about an HOA. First and foremost, the fees. Some of the fees can be extremely high, and that doesn't include any special assessments. If there happens to be a special assessment, let's say they want to put in a pool, well, everyone in that community is going to get charged with it based on a vote, which is another topic for another video. The other big one is that some HOAs are poorly managed, meaning the management company they hire just does a terrible job maintaining money, maintaining the community, reinforcing the rules. So that becomes a big thing with homeowners. So one of the other big negatives that I've actually personally come across is the loss of some control over what you can do with your own property. And that's typically one of the biggest challenges you see as a homeowner in a neighborhood, is that anything you want to do, whether it's painting your house or putting in a pool, let's say you want to just put in a fire pit, you have to go through and apply for that through typically most HOAs, and they get to say yes or no to those things based on the rules of the neighborhood. Obviously, special assessments can come, when there is the need. Let's say your neighborhood wants to do some additional improvements in the neighborhood. They want to do tree trimming, or they decide that they want to put in a tennis court or redo the tennis court. A lot of times if the balances in their accounts isn't going to be enough for that, they can do what's called a special assessment, and they'll vote on it, and they need a certain percentage to get that special assessment passed. But if it does, they will assess each homeowner a certain amount of money that they're responsible for paying. So I always tell my clients ahead of time, if the rules and regulations of a neighborhood are important to you, make sure you request a copy of those before closing on the house. Typically, I'll warn you, they're probably 500 to 600 pages, and they're the most boring read you could possibly have. But if that's important to you, let's say you want to put a fence in your backyard, but the neighborhood doesn't allow fences or only allows a certain kind of fence. That's probably pretty important for you to know before you close on a house. So you can request those early. Make sure you ask your realtor. If you're here in Central Florida, you can ask me. But make sure you ask those before you close on the house. That's extremely important. Balance sheets. Every HOA typically has a balance sheet showing what they're spending on a monthly basis. They should have a budget. And also, what do they have in their reserve accounts? If they have very little money in that reserve account, be careful, because that's setting you up to a potential special assessment somewhere down the road. So keep that in mind. Ask them for a balance sheet. This one's really important. When you're driving through the neighborhood, heading to the house that you got an interest in, take a look at all the amenities. Take a look at some of the common areas. Has the grass been cut? Are the gates working? Has everything got a good fresh coat of paint on it? You know, is the fitness center open? All those things are a good indication of how the HOA is taking care of that neighborhood. So when you go under contract on a property, we order what's called an estoppel letter. And that's gonna tell you if there's any litigation going on in the neighborhood or anything specific that you need to know about. However, ahead of time, your agent really should be asking the listing agent or the seller, what exactly do they know about any litigation going on or any problems that are going on in the neighborhood? And if they're ethical, they're going to share that information with you up front. A lot of times, if I have a listing with a litigation going on, I disclose that in the seller's disclosure. So make sure that that is at least asked. You will find out in the end. Last but not least, when you're out looking at houses, do some research online on social media. You know, here in Central Florida, we have a Nextdoor website, which is community-based. And if you ever want to know anything bad about a neighborhood, just check on Nextdoor and you can see all of the homeowners' opinions on things happening or what's going on. Facebook typically has groups for those neighborhoods as well. So good idea to look at least give you an idea how the homeowners feel about the neighborhood. Guys, I hope this was all helpful for you. If you have questions or you have good stories about an HOA, drop them down below. I'd love to hear them. Any other questions you have, you can always reach out to me directly. Have a great rest of your day. We will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.